Jeff Cooner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Trump makes his move. A brilliant pick, an historic pick. Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. She is not just the first mom of school-age children to ever be nominated to the High Court. She is also the first female conservative to be nominated to the Supreme Court. She will now, if confirmed, she will now forge a real conservative majority on the Supreme Court. Now you know why they're going after her faith, and now they're going after her two adopted children from Haiti. 617-266-6868. What do you make of the Barrett nomination? Is Judge Barrett the right person at the right time for the right job? And the Democrats now making an issue of her family. Is that going to work, or will it blow up in their face? 617. Let me ask you, how does it make you feel? Do you think you should go after someone's family and their children and their adoption in the desperate effort to destroy this woman? So, look, as someone who's adopted two children myself, I am telling you, when you make a decision to adopt a child, you know it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. And she already had children, biological children of her own. Do you really think they needed to go out and have more children? So, and it's not a pity case. Please don't get me wrong. They're not a charity case. They really, truly love those two kids like they're their own. I know, because I have two of my own. I always say, thank the Lord for my two children every day. I go, if Grace and I wanted to have children, if we could have children is the better way to put it. If Grace and I could have children, I couldn't have created better kids. We couldn't, I'm telling you. So to see that wonderful girl smiling ear to ear, so close to her other sisters, to see that boy, do you see him in a beautiful suit? Little John Peter, and laughing, and he's playing with the other boys, his brothers, in a wonderful family, and you're going to tear that apart? You're going to play the race card and claim that somehow they're the victims of white colonizers? You're sick, man. Like, really? You people have a problem. Are you that desperate for power? I guess you are. Let me just quickly throw one more log on the fire, and then I want to get right back to these calls. Remember Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt? I know they've divorced now, and it's an ugly divorce. But in their heyday, when they were together, do you remember how liberals, progressives, Democrats, the liberal media celebrated them, venerated them, because they were adopting all of these children from different countries around the world? In fact, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, remember, they made a point of it. We want our family to be like the United Nations. So they adopted several kids, black kids from Africa. Then they adopted several Asian kids from Asia. Then they adopted a couple of Middle Eastern kids because they didn't want the Muslim world to feel slighted. And so they had some biological kids, but they also had adopted kids. And what did liberals say? Bravo. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this is so compassionate. Look at them. They want the family to look, exactly their words, like the United Nations, to reflect the world, to reflect the UN. Now, here you have a beautiful American family, pro-life. They don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. And they have 7 children. 7. They adopted 2 from Haiti. One of them was so malnourished, the girl Vivian, that when they got her at 14 months old, they were told, this girl may never speak again. She hasn't made a sound since she was born because she was so neglected. No one ever spoke to this poor child. She probably will never speak, and because Haiti is such a poor country, the child was so malnourished, her legs were ravaged by rickets. They said the legs almost become like in a bowl shape. They go, she may not be able to walk. Do you understand what you're getting yourself into? And they said, the Lord has given us much. The Lord has blessed us with much. We want to take this child and make her our own. She will be our daughter. Now, you saw her at that beautiful nomination ceremony on Saturday. All of you saw it. Did you see the wholesome cheeks? Did you see her hugging her sisters? Did you see the affection? She's a track star. You know what America did? America turned her into a track star. Okay, CrossFit fitness. And as the mother joked, as Judge Barrett joked, she goes, believe me, she has no problem talking. At the dinner table, she'll talk your ear off. Then you see the younger one. They're not siblings, they're just both from Haiti. Adopted 5 years later in the devastating earthquake. John Peter, smiling ear to ear, so happy, plays with his brothers all the time. And then they had a biological child, the last one, with Down syndrome, special needs. Many of those children are aborted. They said, we're not only going to have this child, we're going to love this child. And as Amy Coney Barrett put it, every one of my children will tell you that is their favorite sibling. All of them together love that 5-year-old boy the most. You're going to go after her family? In fact, you want to see how vile it's getting? Okay, some of this turns your stomach. It's almost like, don't even say it. No, really, I don't want you to throw up in your cereal. I don't want to ruin your drive into work. That's how ugly this is getting, okay? But you got to hear this. So, Bill Maher now is going after Amy Coney Barrett. Why is Bill Maher going after Amy Coney Barrett? Bill Maher is going after Amy Coney Barrett because according to Bill Maher, she doesn't use condoms. Why else would she have 7 children? She's a, quote, blanking nut for having 7 kids. How dare she have 7 kids? By having 7 kids, in other words, a large family. Frankly, there used to be many Irish large families, and many Italian large families, and many other large families. That used to be the norm for most of human history, okay? But for daring to have a large family, a loving, large home, she must be a a complete blanking nut. Roll cut 13, Christian.
But apparently the pick is going to be this Amy Coney. We'll be saying this name a lot, I'm sure, because she's a nut. Religion. I was right about that one, too. Sorry, but Amy Coney Barrett, Catholic, really Catholic. I mean really, really Catholic, like speaking in tongues. Like, she doesn't believe in condoms, what she has in common with Trump, because he doesn't either.
This is liberal comedy for you. Listen now to Al Sharpton going on about how they're using her kids, the 2 black kids, the 2 Haitian kids, as props for the nomination ceremony on Saturday. Roll cut 32, Christian.
That was the least diverse audience I've ever seen an announcement like this made in my life. I looked around. I was glad her 2 kids did come out because I couldn't find too many other people of color in that audience.
The non-reverend reverend. Has this guy ever delivered a sermon in his life? And again, I issued this challenge, I think it was 10 years ago, to the libs. They still can't meet it. Where did he get his divinity degree from? This guy claims to be a reverend. What divinity school did this guy ever attend? But let that go. He's a race hustler, a race baiter through and through. Brenda in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Brenda, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. You know, this all boils down to really one thing, is that Amy Coney Barrett is a God-fearing woman. And that's what the left fears. Okay? In the end, this is really like a big battle between God and the government. They can tell me all day long, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, that they're practicing Catholics. Excuse me. Please, don't insult me. This showcases how intolerant and how they really aren't into their so-called methodologies of diversity and inclusiveness. We're dealing with people, Jeff, and you already know that. I mean, this is not new to you. These people suffer from, it's referred to biblically, the so-called practicing Catholics that they keep hammering at us all the time. But you better get out your Bible and find out what God is saying. They have calloused hearts and they have seared consciences because you know what? Their biggest sacrament, which isn't a godly sacrament, is their so-called sacrament of abortion. Okay? Killing preborn babies in the womb every single day. There's a number the audience needs to know, and it's a statistic. It's actually off the Planned Parenthood site. It's 2363. That's the newest number. 2,363, and they now refer to them as preborns. I call them unborn. Children that are murdered in the womb every single day. And they're going to lecture me, and they're going to lecture you with their BS. This woman is wrapped with God. She is wrapped in God, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing for those of us that are Christians, that we have this it's light, okay? They want to hang out with the darkness. We want to bring light into this universe, and believe me, we certainly need some light with what's going on, with everything that's going on here. And so, if everybody else can be wrapped in their ideology, Joe Biden says it's his faith that makes his decisions in life. I'm paraphrasing. Well, you know what? She's using her beautiful connection to God to make her decisions. And look at what she has displayed to us. She has a wonderful family. For crying out loud, it makes me feel like a loser. She has 7 children, and she embodies everything that they claim that they are. She actually has a diverse family. It's unbelievable, and they twist everything. But you know what? This is the crowd, Jeff, as you know, that espouses the ideology of Saul Alinsky, of which you know that it's dedicated right there for everybody to see and to read, to Lucifer. All right, so this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the crowd that's twisted up, they're dark, and they don't like it because she is bringing light, and she's actually bringing God, and God love her, and I'm so grateful that she has been nominated. This is a wonderful thing. They're getting all bent out of shape, but we all understood that this was going to happen anyways, because this is how they roll.
Oh, amen. This is how they roll, and this is how we're going to roll over them.